You're listening to Jim and James Chew the Cud.
When was the last time you saw a Chevrolet in Tokyo?
I have no idea what they're talking about.
Robbing biological urges.
You crazy son. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
You're listening to Jim and James Chew the Cud.
Okay, so welcome to episode 206.
What a number.
Of Jim and James Chew the Cud, or the Chew, as kids call it. Do you know that?
Yeah, I've heard, yeah. Chew a fucking iron.
With me,
Jim.
As always, James, not just co-host and the talent of this Chew Man group, but the TikTok account manager, which is great because each week James will be posting a video of him on TikTok doing the latest TikTok trend.
That's
in a
true.
Feature we're calling Cud on the Dance Floor.
It's very true. I've got 12 dances lined up.
How is the TikTok going?
It's going really well.
What's the handle for the TikTok? Should anyone?
Oh
want to
yeah, in case you do want to follow a TikTok, the handle is, let me just tell you, I'll make sure it's Chew the Cud Podcast. I should have known that really.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chew the Cud Podcast.
That's excellent.
And you can search such hashtags as Chew the Cud and podcast and Barbie.
So last week's episode was a fun one. I believe that you.
Yeah, I
apologise.
I want to apologise for something I said about. I said that Jim had freakishly large hands, they were swollen. I was on the group, well, the website www.handjobs.com. Actually spelt differently because Handjobs with it, HND was bought by some porn empire.
Right.
So now we have to pretend it's a man called Hans Jobs. He actually is a man, a German fella called Hans.
Yeah.
Hans Jobs. And we had to pay a pretty premium to get access to his website or his address.
When you say we,
the hand job people.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I received a lot of hate on those forums because I misremembered certain things about your hands, and in fact they weren't swollen and freakishly big. It turns out your bones grew. You had a massive growth spurt, and the bones in your hands grew at a disproportionate rate to the rest of your body.
Because of all the pissy filou I was eating.
Probably was that, and because your hands were always down at the side, and often you would lay like on a bench with your hands stretched out, like, or hanging low, so we're the lowest point of your body, probably 23 hours of a day. And it turns out that you had your bone growth was quite large, quite rapid, quite quick. Which means the same thing.
Yeah.
But it was because it was so speedy, or so
rapid,
fast.
or quick.
Yeah, your bones grew at three times the length and width of other people. Even now, the bones in your hands are bigger than the average person, which I think I've heard has got benefits if you're trying to pleasure 10 ladies at once. Or 11 if you want to use your penis as well, or 12 if you want to use your tongue. And I was thinking I want to go less crude, and now I'll just go on really crude there. But great if you could just not include that.
No,
but
this
sure
is what happens if I don't jump in and let you do it.
But your hands were freakishly long because of the bones in your hands. I want to apologise. It wasn't.
That was what
swollen.
I was thinking when you were talking about pleasuring 12 women at once. I think it was. This was an apology to a child that you were offering up.
Yeah.
Not once. I think the word sorry was in there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I said I wanted to do an apology. So me saying I'm making an apology doesn't need. I need to say I'm sorry.
I mean, it has to sort of allude to it.
It's implied, right? By me doing an apology, I am sorry.
At one point, you were just reciting the thesaurus on how quickly things move.
Yeah, it is true.
No, that was good. I mean, I feel
heard.
Yeah, I feel. Well, I didn't make the complaint.
Validated. No, you didn't.
It was one of the many people abusing you on TikTok.
Probably, yeah.
Lucy Letby.
Yeah.
They described her as England's worst.
No,
killer.
I saw that,
and I thought,
I think it's the same as me. Does that mean it's also a best child killer?
I think it's just that women aren't treated fairly, and that because she's a woman, she's considered not very good at her job. She's the worst one at it. But
and if so, why is so much attention on her?
I think.
Surely, if you're a worst child, or any sort of say you're a worst killer,
yeah,
that means you're not a killer.
Do you think
we could all say we're the worst killers.
child killer than Lucy Letby?
It depends what you mean by worst. Because I think the press are confusing the words worst and best.
If you just
but
said,
also best is too positive. So
I'm the worst child killer in the UK.
I'm not going to say that.
I would take that to mean that you considered yourself not very good at doing so.
Yeah, so I don't.
But you have attempted it then.
No, I mean I'll maybe try to kill like an animal or something, like
Right.
a goldfish.
Why would you try and kill a goldfish?
Because it was dying anyway. I mean,
What do you mean, like it was on the floor?
as a young child, I like to experiment with
Compared
animals.
to an old
and I
child.
say not experiment. That's the wrong word. But
You used to-
I like to just push for limits. And my friend had a newt, and I knew, and I know that I know or knew that newts live in the water,
Well, that's easy
but
for you
can
to
live
say.
on the land. And I assumed that like all water-based animals
How old are you?
could do the same. 15.
15? Okay.
So I took the goldfish and just left it on the side for about 3 hours.
Yeah.
I went off, did my shopping, went
15.
to a park, played football,
With your shopping.
performed kind of major heart surgery.
Yeah.
I went
It's
home.
like it doesn't matter how old you were when you were experimenting with animals.
I went home because I knew that a goldfish, which is called orangey,
Yeah.
we also had a Gina as well, so it's Orangina, which again it was a bit dumb because we might have called it Orange or Orangina.
Yeah.
It would have been far funnier. And now it's just shit. But
You didn't know you were going to host the comedy podcast.
I saw
30
a
years' time.
fish just on the side, not moving. His eyes were really panicked. I could tell it was it was hurting.
His eyes were panicked.
I was an empath as well, which is surprising what I did in the first place. But I had a
You
connection.
knew looking at that goldfish,
I had a connection.
it was
I knew
dying.
what it was thinking,
Yeah.
and I knew like shit. I need like water
Yeah.
air. So originally I put it back
At
in
that point, though, can I just say-
I held it between my forefinger and thumb.
Yeah.
And just held it in the water about 25 minutes, just
Yeah.
waving it as if you like doing a
It didn't work.
switching motion. It didn't work. So what I did, I went and got the meat pulverising hammer thing from downstairs.
Yeah.
And I held it aloft.
Your mum.
When I went to bring it down on this tiny goldfish.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, what am I doing? This is overkill. So instead, I thought I'd give it one more chance. And what I
Yeah.
did, I put it in the toilet bowl and flushed it. So I think that
What was the chance you were offering it there?
at life, 'cause that's when I was younger, we had a lot, like when I was like, a real baby. My mum had, I had like a massive fish tank full of goldfish.
Right.
And they would die on average one a day.
Yeah.
It turns out when you feed them,
Yeah.
you can't just use it like one thumbful for like all the fish.
Thumbful.
Like again, like a
Pinch.
pinch. It's like you have a pinch of those little flaky
Yeah.
kind of fish food bits, and I assumed it was transferable, so you didn't need to increase it when you had more fish. We had like say 200 fish at one
200
stage,
fish
and we would feed it like one like pinch.
One
of-
flake.
Put it as if that.
You fed 200 fish with one
Yeah,
flake.
but then my mum would then say that
Can Jesus do that at the
she's
seaside?
gonna. I mean, I was called at school for fish Jesus.
Yeah. Because of the smell.
But yeah, my mum would say if you put it in a flush.
In the flush
In a flush, we would give it.
Why did your mum call it a flush?
Another
flush?
chance. I was a bit dopey as a child.
You're 15.
I was simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had
In the flush.
my puberty had hit me quite bad
Yeah.
at that stage, so my brain wasn't working as quickly. Well, it wasn't getting the information through the rest of my body. My
Right.
spine was kind of like a bit tight around my neck.
Right.
So I'd be like a hold up of data going from my head. It was like lag.
Okay. Your
yeah.
mum said flush.
Yeah.
20 minutes later, you went toilet.
And then I assumed that a fish was then swimming around in the Atlantic or something.
Yeah.
About half an hour later.
So, half an hour later. Okay.
Yeah, it's water and pipes
So-
go faster.
So you're an empath. And you realised after leaving that goldfish on the side for 3 hours, you could see its panicked eyes, and it was very close to death.
It was. I mean, it wasn't.
I'm not sure. 3 hours, Jamie. Can you just bring up how long goldfish live outside of water? Up to an hour. So I think it was dead. So it's panicked eyes.
Didn't go back that night as well.
Oh, 4 hours.
4 hours. Yeah.
And this was in the middle. This was at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
You saw its panicked eyes. Why were you at a park at 2 a.m?
Well, what I do want to,
as a retarded 15-year-old,
I do want to advise when the clocks go back, when the clocks go back or go forwards, I take that time on my time. I choose when that hour goes forward or back.
Yeah.
So I'll wake up at a normal time and pretend that it's still like say 8:30.
Yeah.
It's 7 or 9, and then I do my day because it's always a weekend, so I'm not working.
Mm-hmm.
I do my usual routine, and I'll think, hang on a minute, I want an hour back, and I just take it.
Yeah.
Like that, I take my hour back, and then do 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock.
Do you mean
6 o'clock or 7
at 7 o'clock
or 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock? Never midnight though. That's pushing it.
It's funny someone went through and edited all of that to remove the L from those.
Do 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock.
But so what are you saying there? Like at 8 o'clock, you go, I'm taking back 2 o'clock from this afternoon.
Oh no! I'll go. It's now. I'll take my hour.
Right.
So it's now 7 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm not.
And what if something is time orientated?
I make sure it's not.
Okay, so it really, you just at one point in your day think to yourself, well, actually, it's now 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Cool. I went to a new restaurant the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, it was a university themed challenged. One.
Right.
University themed challenged. University challenge themed.
That was challenging.
It's easy for me to say. Yeah. Restaurant. But it was very expensive. Everything was expensive. The main courses were 50 quid. So I just had a starter for 10.
That's a good choice.
Hopefully Leon will get that joke. He struggled with the U2 references.
Hopefully he will. I mean, I went to a mastermind themed restaurant the other day as well, which is quite funny.
Okay.
There's been an array of quiz-based restaurants open in Exeter, which I don't know why. Blockbuster's one, there was pee everywhere. I wasn't a fan of that. But the mastermind one, I had quite an early closing time. I got about 8 o'clock. And
you sure?
Yeah. No, it was because the clocks weren't changing then, so it was definitely 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay.
And I had my starter. That was lovely. Powered through that, ate it all.
Yeah.
And then got the next course, but then they were going to close the shop. I was like, oh no, I tried to take it away. And he was like, no, you start so you can finish. So I finished it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was really nice of them. It was really, really good service.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Because I've been to restaurants where they force you
to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they did. They let me finish. I was about 3 hours as well, because I had basically four one-person courses.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I thought they were all quite small, but they weren't. I mean, it includes where it feeds a family. But I mean, saying all that, it reminds me of a time I actually did qualify for a university challenge.
Really?
I really did. When I was at uni, I say at uni, I attended Plymouth University.
Like as a caretaker?
Didn't go to a great deal of lectures because it was always more into drinking.
You a bit of a party animal?
Alcoholic.
Yeah.
Would have been the term at the time.
Yeah.
Plus, in hindsight, probably having massive panic attacks and all that. But not to put a downer on it, I qualified to go on University Challenge. All we did was won the pub quiz in the Union. One of the rounds involved downing a pint of beer. There was another music round, and there's also one we had to do a caption competition. So, I remember a picture of the Pope. It was actually a model, like a waxwork model of the Pope. And there was like a rock had hit him on the back, and the rock was crushing him.
The rock?
No, a rock, as in like a big stone.
Oh,
boulder.
okay.
And then my caption.
Stone, a boulder, a rock. Three.
And then my caption was, said redirected cut of Armageddon didn't do well in Italy. And yeah, so we won the thing overall.
What was the question
Which
that the
qualified.
answer was?
There's a picture of a pope with a rock, and you had to do a funniest caption.
Oh, okay. So I
And,
missed the funny caption.
And so we qualified for University Challenge, and
Yeah.
we decided actually no, it's probably not. Best we don't do it.
Well, they do background checks.
Because we did a drinking round. We went on, mate. Nothing was relevant.
Well, did you
And
think
also
at any
I-
point that Jeremy Paxman was going to crack out the
And,
shots?
and also, I wasn't like attending my lectures, so I didn't feel it was appropriate to go on.
and you were slow and dim-witted as well, weren't you?
I was a genius.
Because
at that age.
only 3 years before you were referring to a toilet as a flush.
It's true.
This was before.
There's so many kind of like.
This was before you were a hand model, though.
Yeah, there's so many like when I kind of tell my life stories or
Yeah.
our life stories.
Mainly
In
yours.
hindsight, listening back, so many times I think, did that
I got-
really happen? But
I
it
got
did
that
all
little bit of
happen.
detail wrong, but the rest of it is
Yeah.
you sort of just divining those things. So you never actually went on
No.
University Challenge.
No.
Fair enough. I do have a feature that I would like to launch
Oh, let's do this.
called James on Film.
James on film.
James.
Yeah, it'll be like that. It'll be like that. You're a bit of a cinephile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know? I read it today. Pretty unrelated. I have to do this. It was a pod of dolphins was sighted off the Welsh coast, and they're on this boat was doing like a dolphin tour on a boat, and
Yeah.
they saw a porpoise swimming around, and it was like, oh, this will be interesting, and it was. The dolphins attacked the porpoise and murdered it. I then found out that there is a name for the killing of a porpoise.
Okay.
Do you know what their name is?
No.
Porpoiside. And he was like, oh, this will be interesting. And it was.
Part of me for a second went, is that real?
It
And then
is.
I thought, it's not. Of course it's not.
Dolphin spotters shaken by Ceredigion porpoise killing. Porpoise. BBC today.
Yeah.
Um,
And you love BBC.
so it's unclear why dolphins attack porpoises. But
Yeah.
experts say it could be an aggressive response to feeding or misdirected sexual aggression.
Yeah.
Porpoiside is a name given to the deliberate slaying of a harbour porpoise by bottlenose dolphins.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe bottlenose dolphins gave them that name.
By people.
By people. There's like gritty.
I know what you're trying to say. Dolphins haven't named it.
What does it? Read it again.
What?
Just a bit about where porpoiside is named.
Porpoiside is a name given to the deliberate slaying of a harbour porpoise by bottlenose dolphins. A gang.
So it's saying that bottlenose dolphins have given it that name. The concept of murdering a porpoise
I
has
see what you're
been
saying
named.
here. I see what you're saying here.
Yeah. I mean, if we've got any dolphins or porpoises, if you're ready to talk about that, if they're in that emotional state, or if anyone knows anything about the murder. I mean, Chud Griffin is probably gonna
Make a
know
song
something.
for it.
He made that one song a couple of years ago, and those laurels need resting. Plus, we don't need him now. We can rap.
Yeah.
He actually said, I sent him one of those, and he said it was better than what he did. Just quickly back to the feature, James on film.
Yeah.
James. James.
I couldn't find your Letterboxd account, which is a shame because I wanted to use.
I did
that.
make one when I thought this is actually shit.
But because you see a lot of films, a lot of films that I don't see.
Yeah.
And test your memory on how if you can remember the film you've seen.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm just going to read you a review of the film by yourself, and you tell me what the film is.
Yeah.
Okay. An ode to cinema.
That was Spielberg's Thingyman. What's it called?
I'll give you half a point for that if you can give me the full the actual name. Very Jewish film.
Yeah, I think it wasn't like Zimmerman. No, I can't remember.
Fableman.
Yeah.
I'll give you the point for that though. Well done. Possibly one of the best comedies I've seen this year.
I need more than that.
That's your review. It was last year.
Last year.
And it did make your top 10.
Ooh, I can't remember at all.
It was Bros.
Oh yeah, I thought it was called Homos for quite a while.
You did put that in there, but I didn't want to give that away. And lastly, very, very good.
Fucking hell, I'm an idiot.
No. This was in context. Was contrary to the popular opinion of the time, and I agreed with you on this. And actually, so did Chud Griffin.
Is it by any chance a space film?
No, it's not.
No. Because that's a great film.
This was. I think you genuinely enjoyed this film. I did, and so did Chud Griffin. Contrary to like everyone else has slated it.
Last year, this year?
Oh, mate! At this point, I think it was last year.
That would have been a vampire film.
No, did you Morbius?
No.
Did you enjoy Morbius?
No.
Okay.
No, I watched it twice as well.
Oh, you do that for everything, don't you? There's very few films you've only
Not
seen
Oppenheimer.
once.
No. Or Mario.
Did you not
watch that about 12 times? I can't know. No.
Black Adam.
Black Adam.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or Adam. And that was James on Film.
James. 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 James.
Have you been to see anything recently?
I've watched a few films, and there's one which I thought would be really close to my heart. A film I used to...
Aorta?
Gran Turismo.
Okay.
A game
It's about an Italian grandmother.
That's what I assumed at first. Well, a quick gran.
Yeah.
It's not that, actually.
No. A fast
it's a film
gran.
about a game, Gran Turismo, is a racing game.
Okay.
And it has such great lines as like,
Dad, I want to be a race car driver.
You can't, you don't drive, and you play that damn game all the time.
It's not a game, Dad. It's a real driving simulator.
He then gets his place on a real driving team. He wins like a computer game. He wins like the fastest lap, and he kind of gets through a boot camp and ends up on a real team racing real cars. And it's based on a true story as well.
Is it like a Make-A-Wish thing?
Well, no, but he did kill a man as well. So he was doing a race, and
What race?
his car, I don't know, but Nürburgring.
Okay.
He was doing that, and he kind of hit a bump, and his car flipped up and flew over a fence and hit a man and killed him. And he was quite upset for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
When Orlando Bloom came around,
Had he killed before?
No.
How old is he?
19, 20.
Oh, so he just killed a man?
Yeah.
Okay.
And his so Orlando Bloom comes around, and he was like the owner of the Honda or Nissan, like marketing man.
Was he playing a Japanese guy?
No. He was American.
Orlando.
And he had a great idea of like, you just killed a man. People don't believe that you can do this race. So he decides they're going to do the 24-hour Le Mans race, which is a 24-hour race in Le Mans.
It's juicy.
Like 24 hours. So you do like 4 hours like shifts in the car, and it's like 4 or 5 drivers doing it. We're gonna do that to prove that we're safe and should be here, and not just do it. Let's finish it.
Do it real good.
We're gonna get a podium. Spoilers: we got a podium.
IKEA?
And yeah, could well have been. And we had to have champagne, and it made me think.
What about the lemons?
I don't care. But it made me think about like how I play games, but I don't think they've got any real use. You can't learn things from games and take them into real life.
Applicable life skills.
Well, I thought, yeah, exactly that. But I thought that. And I remembered in 1993, when I was 13 or 14, just before I killed a goldfish by accident, I bought a game called Sim City.
Yeah.
And I just built cities and like stopped Godzilla and Mario attacking us. Or no, it was Bowser attacking the town. And I built all donuts to make sure they're all powered and watered. And I really got a taste for city building.
Yeah.
And my work experience at school, I worked for Essex County Council, where I quickly rose up the ranks. And on my first day, I was just like I sat in reception, just like
Worked in the lift.
Then day 2, I literally in the lift, but I rose up the ranks so quickly. I think I talked to people in the lift and made like connections with people.
Yeah, and press the button for the top
Press,
floor.
like, where you're going.
Yeah.
Press the button for them, and let them go out. Then I also earned a lot of money that day.
Were you a door boy?
Well, I wasn't really.
White
But I
gloves
was
and
by
everything.
accident.
Yeah.
So I would hold up my hand. So I like doing high fives, but I
Yeah.
didn't like raising my hand. I like to put my hand like kind of horizontal,
Right.
and they would slap my hand,
Yeah.
like that, in a downward
Just
motion.
a 5 then.
And people would just give me put money in there.
Yeah.
So I earned about 4 shillings. Or no,
Shillings?
No, £12.40.
£12. When was this?
1994, 5.
Okay.
And I quickly rose up my ranks. I became a rising star
Yep.
in my 2 weeks work experience at
Yeah.
the county council, and I quickly got into town design,
Yeah.
and I helped
Natural.
design Milton Keynes.
Right.
I used my knowledge from the game SimCity
Yeah.
on the Super Nintendo to build or design, and then I didn't help build it, but I designed it. I made it happen.
Yeah.
One of the most widely renowned new cities in the country.
Mm.
And I mean, in hindsight, there's lots of mistakes there.
Yeah.
Penny roundabouts aren't that popular, but I mean, as a 15-year-old boy, 14-year-old boy, whoever, 14 and a half, I don't know.
Why are you
what I
obsessed
was.
with roundabouts?
I just like
So
going
it's a
round
circle.
because I like
Horny
my
14-year-old
dog.
boy.
I had a dog at the time as well,
Poor
and
dog.
she would run round in circles,
Yeah.
and I felt that was a sign.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe if she licked a bum more, we had more toilets. But, we had no toilets, and there's about 84 roundabouts. But I then found out that games are somewhat transferable.
Yeah, didn't you have a similar experience with the game Predator?
I know when Exeter City lost their manager recently, and you had been playing Champ Manager or Football Manager on your phone, on your PC, and your Xbox, and your tablet, all at the same time.
That's
but
only
for
partially
different
true.
times. But I heard you hadn't slept for 8 days at one stage,
Yeah.
and then the job came free. And I heard you were one of the forerunners for the new Exeter City job,
Right.
and you told them you gave them your CV.
Yeah.
But then they found out it was a virtual CV. And
Well, everything's online these days.
Well, no, I mean your whole career was a virtual. You told me you were a virtual team manager,
Yeah.
which you were, but they assumed you meant in a work at home manager.
Yeah.
But in fact, you were virtually managing 8 football teams at once
Yeah.
and harvesting children in them, like Jaminio.
No, Jaminio's a little treat to myself.
I don't usually call children that.
Well, it's not he's not my child. He is in the game. You unlock an offspring of your manager.
Sorry.
But yeah, he's not a I don't want there to be any implication that this is a real child. It's just a character I call Jaminio, which represents me in the game, and that's fine.
But I mean, X obviously rejected you.
Yeah,
and it was they were quite hard about it. They did it in the local paper.
I so hard that I don't remember any of this.
No, you were crying.
Yeah, obviously.
For 4 days afterwards, but then you fell asleep, and
I by that point I'd been
brain
awake
damage
for 12 days.
Your brain sort of shut down, and then it helped you regress 12 days.
Yeah,
but then actually it was 13
started calling
days,
things flushy.
So you didn't have any urge to apply for a job again.
Right.
You were lucky because you'd gone by then.
What did they do to me?
They got you out in the ground.
Yeah.
And they tricked you into wearing the mascot's outfit.
Yeah.
When you got to a centre
I'm
circle.
easily fooled.
When you got to a centre circle.
Yeah.
And a helicopter swooped down with a big claw on it, grabbed the head of a lion, which is the mascot.
Yeah.
And just pulled you off.
Not the actual lion. They pulled me off in the centre circle as well.
And the top half of the costume came off.
Yeah.
But you're wearing a pink tutu underneath it.
Yeah, they forced me to do that as well.
And the big bank went mental.
Oh, the stadium was.
You.
This was on.
It was full up.
Oh,
it was on
okay.
TV as well. I mean,
yeah.
I do believe it's on YouTube. If you search Jim Cookson, Exeter City failure manager.
I'm just not sure. Yeah, cut just a few questions of that if I could. I was tricked into the mascot costume.
Yep.
When was I tricked into the tutu? Or was I just wearing the tutu? Or they said in the invite...
That was never made clear.
The interview is ballet formal.
I don't know. It was never made clear why you were at tutu.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming it was
Why
them.
did Exeter City do this to me? Because they receive...
Because you applied for a job which you had no right to apply for.
Yeah, but...
And you wasted their time.
That happens...
And they wanted to make an example of you.
Right. It feels unnecessary to do that to a person.
Yeah, I thought that as well. But...
Yeah, I can imagine you weren't there. You refused to watch.
Oh no, I was cheering.
Yeah, because you're sat in the director's box rubbing one out.
No, it was like in Step Bros or Step Brothers when he's singing along and his brother's like, I think he's got a mangina. And everyone starts booing him when he's at school singing, and then.
But he wasn't tricked into that.
No,
he wasn't bundled into.
No, but I was like
some costume.
I was the distant in the crowd who I was cheering you on, trying to encourage you.
What were you saying?
Because everyone else was booing.
Encouraging me to do what? At this point, I'm not doing anything. I've just been revealed to 3,000 people.
I still want you to think you should be ashamed of wearing a tutu while dressed in a half mascot competition.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those I think I've blocked out because I don't understand why I would even go along to that.
No,
and not notice the 3,000 people in the stands. Was it like everyone was there going, shh, how did they tell everyone about this? Because you were there, you knew this was going to happen.
They had...
Or you just go into an Exeter City game?
I was just happy to be there.
Yeah, I do that.
Well, there may have been some sort of pre-warning, but I can't talk about that.
So why was this in the middle of a game? Or like half time of the game?
Yeah, you weren't like a pitch invader.
No, I just wonder again why they would do that to someone in front of that many people.
No,
just for...
people like they try and sell themselves as a family club.
Yeah,
who are like fan owned and who are like decent people, but they're not.
They let you in.
Like Michael Jackson went there.
Yeah,
and I heard a rumour that he asked for all the local childcare centres to bring all the children in to help watch a game.
Yeah,
and I thought it was a really lovely move to do. But 12 kids went missing that night.
It's almost the whole under-7s football team.
Yeah, and it was yeah. That's probably...
That's strange. I don't remember that at all. But thank you for being the lone dissenter to...
you were probably drinking that time as well.
Wasn't this the other day? Mum's getting pretty stressed.
I wouldn't say pretty.
My mum is a very beautiful woman. But no, she's very stressed. It's my sister's birthday coming up, and she's trying to make her like a cake for it.
How's that going?
She was making some jam. She used up all the strawberries for that, and the what do you call it? The meringue nests have all broken and stuff. So it's all a bit of a palaver. And I said, "No, you mean pavlova."
Do you remember the time where you moved to the area? It was like a new build housing estate.
Yeah,
and there was it was a big deal. I was talking about tree climbing, and there was like the heats to get into the national or the local
tree climbing championships.
Yeah, local and the district and like the national.
Yeah,
and you got to international branch.
Yeah.
Of the tree climbing competition. But I do remember when your first round was very easy because because it was like very local.
Yeah.
Every like estate would have their own tree climbing competition.
Yeah.
But I had no like rules on the height of the tree.
Right. Yeah.
And you climbed yours in it was like 12 seconds, while the average was at like 45 plus. And
yeah.
You kind of like were
a tiny tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was a new build housing estate and the trees had just been planted. Like,
I don't think that tree climbing races are measured on how quickly you reach the top of a tree, but probably how quickly you can try and climb to a certain point.
That's in hindsight. But I mean, at the time, it was the first.
That's when you get a baked bean in your eye.
This was the first ever one, and people hadn't really
thought it through.
No, because
this is the first time anyone had thought about climbing a tree.
Especially like where you lived, there was no internet because it was quite poor.
And it was like 1995.
It was Cornwall, so it wasn't the internet, and you didn't have ways of looking at photos of like for places past and present.
Yeah.
So you weren't aware that, like, in other places.
I don't think you need to have the internet to work out that a tree. How did they? I'm getting way too involved again in one of these stories, but how did they communicate to everyone that this tree climbing competition was going on?
Shouting.
So
It was just like,
when was this?
Because there was a thing on TV about, like, it's a film about tree climbing.
Yeah.
And like, there was like tree houses in films and TV shows.
Yeah, tree houses.
And there was like,
and trees,
lots
probably.
of trees and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was a big fad. People got into trees, but no one really knew what a tree was. You know,
right. Yeah. They got into.
But then, like local councillor, who turns out was, you know, mentally deficient. That's the right word, but
yeah, I think was. Yeah.
And he basically, it was all down to him. He just like he got a fax. And the person who sent it had forgot the word, or forgot the height of the tree. And it said, like, blah, blah, tree.
Yeah.
And so the councillor shouldn't be any tree, and he kind of got this little.
So not just the
sapling.
councillor, but everyone on the council.
Yeah, right. No,
and then everyone that visited.
They gave him complete free reign.
Yeah.
And then when the children turned up to do a tree climbing, they realised that this is a piece of piss.
How tall was the tree?
Couple of foot,
and that still took 12 seconds to climb.
Well, because the thing problem was it was
first
quite,
10 seconds. I'm there. It was
quite bendy because it was like still like a sapling, or a baby tree, or an infant tree,
No, that's the army. So go on. You were saying that there was a in charge of this town that I lived in, and I climbed a 2-foot tree, but it took me 12 seconds because it was a bit bendy.
Yeah, because basically, like, even a baby would have bent that tree.
Yeah,
and like you were trying to climb it, and you were like, the first time you lift your foot off the ground, and it kind of bent over because it was just incredibly weak.
It's only 2 foot as well,
but eventually,
so it can't even really bend without snapping.
But eventually, you kind of adjusted your balance on the tree,
right?
And basically, just put your hands on top of the tree, just, you know, like.
Presumably, I'm just stood next to it because I'm taller than the tree.
And then you kind of did like a push-up sort of thing,
right?
So put your hands on top of a tree, push yourself up, and it's like you hovered for like 5 seconds. And that was enough for you to clear the tree. So, but because you
hovered for 5 seconds,
but because the other towns didn't know.
They weren't all
how tree was,
were they? That's the problem.
They just read this thing of like, you climb a tree, and it was meant to be a 12 metres tall each tree.
Right, yeah.
But that was missed off of facts.
Yeah.
So
they just put tree.
But they assumed that you would climb to like a regulation tree, and you advanced to the internationals quite quickly. And it was a shame because like we had like the town by then got internet because like they realised how wonderful.
In the
were.
12 seconds it took for me to climb the tree,
like to move to the next tournament.
Right.
So
okay.
like you skipped the
just
count.
Was this popular in the village?
Everywhere.
But
you skipped,
why were there no trees?
Because you lived in a new village.
Yeah, but it was popular there, right? For it to be popular, there has to be trees for them to come.
It's popular everywhere.
Yeah,
and like people moved in from other towns to move this new little hamlet.
But this new hamlet has no trees. At the time,
they planted them.
Yeah, but at the time where people wanted to climb trees.
But anyway, the whole town got internet because of your brave antics. And when you got to, I think it was in America, and they had like all the people were blindfolded, so you couldn't plan your route up this tree, and you got to the forest, and I did like 5, 4, 3, and 2, and then the other number afterwards. I went go. They whipped off your blindfold, and you saw this like huge like redwood tree, and you wet yourself and fell over.
Yeah,
and you were crying.
Yeah,
and like your massive bony hands.
Which
would have helped you climb a tree quicker if you thought about it.
They hadn't gone weird at this point.
You didn't know how to climb that tree, and and because you had got the whole town internet, because I thought you
was already into it. It was a global sensation.
You were like a brave soldier. Your whole town saw you fail as a 7-year-old boy.
And then later on, obviously, I get similar at Exeter City.
Yeah, it's weird how
two of your stories have involved me being
publicly shamed.
Yeah, but also pissing myself into that. I think that's an interesting thing to look into on a future episode. If anyone thinks that's weird, write in. I think the cud has been chewed there.
Yeah.
Do you want to give out the TikTok again so people can follow your TikTok?
Chew a Cud podcast.
Excellent work.
You see such videos as Wolverine stroking our faces.
But there's good ones
men
too.
Smashing our TV with us on it. Some rap. We do a lot of rap on there.
There's a lot of rap.
You can play some rap now if you want.
Don't get a blowjob from an octopus, man, it's gotta be. That thing will stab your balls and spring a leak. Close your eyes and pretend it's cool. Just settle for a hand, but from a tented pool.
Have you got one? Have you got one upcoming?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we are.
Here is James's latest release. What's it called?
I don't know yet. Not
called I don't know yet, and this will play you out. Thank you for watching or listening, rather.
Yeah.
Unless you're watching the YouTube channel, two episodes.
Our Twitch channel, which again, it's not. I thought Twitch was where you went on and just watch people twitching.
Yeah.
And but I don't mean bird spotting. I mean like this.
And you were disappointed.
Shaking. Yeah, I thought some like kind of disabled channel, like some sort of zoo. It's not. It's better than that. It's people with autism playing computer games. Really good.
Thank you for joining us. Here is James's latest song. I don't know what it's called yet.
Listen to us talking about a child who modeled hands, told by James who wrote songs with Rocket Band, model cardigans and jumpers for his brand. Oh no, oh yes, here comes the calm. Gotta keep the podcast clean, of course. Say sperm if talking about man or horse. Maybe that's not the lesson to learn. You don't need to talk about sperm. Oh no, oh yes, here comes the calm. James goes from tennis to ball cupping. This means that Andy needs stopping. If it isn't him, it's the other one, Jim. Oh no, oh yes, here comes the calm. Not everything has to bear a zygote. Consider that you can tell a clean joke. Try to make it fun for everyone. Oh no, oh yes, here comes the cud.
That was Jim and James Chew the Cud, a Curson Media production. Produced by Glenn Lopez. Music by Smartle Jennings.
I quite enjoyed it.